If you're looking for a meal that is healthy, delicious, and really, really fast, look no further. You found it. These are my fajita steak bowls. Steak cooked to perfection, a really nice guacamole, fajita style peppers and onions, and a seasoned rice. This is a total complete meal that will work great for dinner, lunch the next day, or even meal prep for the week. Before I get into the recipe video, check the description box below. All the ingredients are down there, but enough talking, let's get cooking. This is a quick recipe, so the first thing we got to get going is we're going to get this rice going. I chose jasmine rice because it's one of the quickest cooking rices. I also really like it. We're going to make it with a little bit of stock, and we're going to season it with a little Sazon. That's going to add salt, a lot of flavors to this rice, so a nice seasoned rice. A little drop of olive oil in there. Then we're going to set that on the stove, bring it up to a boil, then drop it to a simmer. We got to work fast. Now let's make our fajita seasoning. So we're going to use a base of my base seasoning, which is a blend of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. There's a link to the video recipe in the description. We're also going to add some cumin. And now for chili powder, we're going to choose ancho chili powder. Really like it. It's one of my favorite chili powders. And in goes the smoked paprika for that nice smoky flavor. And instead of using black pepper for this recipe, we're going to use some white pepper. This is going to add a nice pepper flavor without too much of the heat that I'm trying to avoid for digestive reasons. And you can use black pepper if you'd like. And we're going to also put a couple pinches of salt. And we're going to give this a little mix. And now we have our fajita seasoning that we're going to season our meat with. And we're also going to season the peppers and onions. Now let's clean up these peppers and onions. So we're going to cut these peppers in half. We're going to pull out any of the pith that's inside, and we're going to get those seeds out. Instead of green peppers here, I'm using Poblano peppers. I thought it would add a really nice touch instead of just a plain old green pepper, which kind of tastes very similar to like the red pepper. So we're going to cut these down into strips. And remember, when we're cutting pepper, you want to keep the pepper skin side down and drag your knife. We're not chopping, we're just pulling right through. And we're going to cut these all into about equal pieces that are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. The other thing that we're going to prep here is going to be this onion. So I'm going to cut this very quickly down into strips. And I chose a red onion because I think it would add a really nice color to the dish. But if you just have regular onion, that's fine too. And we're moving as quick as we can because this is a quick recipe, so we got to get it done in 20 minutes. By the time that rice is done, everything's got to be done, prep and all. This dish would not be complete without some garlic. Where my garlic lovers at? Let me know in the comment section. So we're going to crush down these garlic cloves. I've already cut off the root end. Once these are crushed down for maximum flavor extraction, we're going to chop them down nice and fine. Once those are nice and fine, we're going to put those in a container so we can bring everything over by the stove for easy assembly. The last thing we got to do here is we got to make this really easy guacamole. The guac is best when it's had some time to sit in the fridge. So we're going to open up these avocados, and we're going to keep the avocado on the cutting board and then remove the pit with the knife. It's always easier and safer to keep the avocado on the cutting board rather than put it in your hand. It only takes one knife slip to go to the emergency room. So do it this way. Try not to do it inside your hand. Now we're going to cut the avocado into large chunks by taking our knife and running it through both vertical and then spinning it around and then doing it horizontal. This is just a nice, easy way to cut the avocado while the skin is holding it together rather than take it out of the skin. And then we just scoop it out with a spoon. Using the skin as a guide, everything goes right in the bowl. Super duper easy way to cut it and really safe, keeping the avocado on the cutting board the whole time. You don't want to end up in the ER with avocado hand. So now let's cut up these tomatoes. I really like to put tomatoes inside guacamole. I think it adds a really nice fresh element and it's not just all just smushed up avocado. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to quarter these down. Then we're going to remove the insides in this rocking style where I get the knife right underneath and I cut off the stem. Once these have been removed, we're going to pull our finger right through the middle, just get the rest of the seeds and all the mushy stuff out, and then we're going to cut them into strips just like we did the peppers, and then we're just going to turn them the other side and cut them into small little pieces. This is the easiest way to dice a tomato. I find that most people have a lot of trouble dicing tomatoes, but once you get down this technique, you'll never be intimidated by a tomato again. We're going to throw that in the bowl. And now we're going to take another half of a red onion. First, we're going to make our horizontal cuts, then our vertical ones, and then we're going to put a chop on this and get this to a nice small dice. I like to show a lot of these knife skills because I really think this is so much of where cooking is, and if this recipe doesn't take you 20 minutes, it's because your knife skills really aren't there. And that also goes in the bowl. We're going to chop up some cilantro. Whenever I'm chopping up cilantro or parsley, I'm always chopping up way more than I need because I like to chop up a bunch of it and then set it aside and then use it for other recipes throughout the week. So there goes the extra, a little bit on the side, a little bit of salt. And they did not have any limes at the supermarket, so I'm going to have to use a backup with just this bottle lime juice that I had in the fridge. Fresh is always better, but fresh doesn't work if you don't have it, so this is going to have to do today. Now we're going to give this a nice little mix to let all these flavors come together. And then this is going to go in the fridge while we take care of the rest of this recipe. Now let's start seasoning our meat. Here I chose a hanger steak, and I love hanger steak because I think it cooks really fast, and it's one of the most flavorful, cheaper steak cuts. It's not the cheapest, but it's also not the most expensive. We're going to take that fajita seasoning and a little bit of olive oil, rub that on top of this steak. Then we're going to go over by our stove. We're going to get our pan hot over a medium-high heat, and surprise, surprise, we're going cast iron. Cast iron is one of my favorite because of the heat retention properties of it, and it cleans up so easy. So now a few minutes on each side just to get some browning on the outside. This isn't a super fatty cut of steak, so anything that's slightly on the leaner side, I like to roll and make sure that we're going multiple contacts on the pan. Once this has gotten nice browning all over the outside, we're going to transfer this over to another pan, and this is going to go in a 375-degree oven for about 10 minutes while we're taking care of the peppers and onions and our rice is finishing up. So we're going to add a little bit more oil, and in just go all the peppers and onions that we chopped up. I have not turned down the heat on the pan. It's still hot over a medium-high heat because we want to get a nice charring on the outside of these onions and peppers. In goes a little bit of the fajita seasoning once these have softened up a little bit. And we're just going to keep mixing that around to make sure that everything gets seasoned nicely. In goes the garlic towards the end because we just don't want to burn the garlic. If I add the garlic at the same time as these, the garlic has a tendency to burn. We're going to mix that garlic in, and now the smell in this kitchen smells amazing. A little splash of some white wine vinegar for some acidity. Really make those flavors pop. And that is good to go. So we're going to remove that from the heat. Our steak has hit a nice internal temperature of 125. That's where I like it. It's going to come up a couple degrees. We're going to let that rest for about 5 minutes before we slice into it. The steak's not too thick, so it doesn't have to rest for too long. Now I'm going to cut these down into about half-inch thick slices, and I'm making sure that I'm not pushing through, that I'm using the sharpness of the blade as I'm dragging it through. You can see we got a nice pink color right on the inside. It's perfect medium rare. And if you like your steak cooked more, just cook it to a higher temperature. I think this is absolutely perfect. Let me know in the comment section where you like your steak. So now you can see everything is steaming hot. So we got our steaming hot rice, these fajita peppers and onions, big scoop of that delicious guac. And that beautifully cooked hanger steak right on top. Maybe put one more piece, keep that protein up. And now look how delicious this bowl looks. A complete meal, protein, carbs, vegetables, healthy fats. What more could you ask for? I can't wait to dig into this fajita steak bowl. This looks absolutely awesome. Super healthy, super fresh, and it came together super duper fast. Before I eat this, I think I'm gonna put on some of that sauce that we made in the crispy potatoes with the Brava sauce. So a little bit of this sauce right on top. We had some of this sauce left over from that episode. This would be the perfect thing to be on top of this and just add another layer of flavor. If you're looking for the recipe for that video, I'll put the link right up there. So let's see if we can get a little bit of everything in one bite.
our steak, some of these peppers and onions, a little bit of the guac and the rice. This is absolutely unbelievable. Packed with protein, loaded with vegetables. So if you're looking to eat a little cleaner and not skimp out on any flavors, this is one of those dishes. I really like with this dish that we season the rice and we didn't make the rice plain. It only takes a couple of seconds to throw that seasoning in there and it's so delicious. Well, I'm gonna crush the rest of this fajita steak bowl. While I'm doing that, you can check out a couple other full meals. This is my seared ahi tuna, really fast, a nice recipe, and this was the recipe that lit this channel on fire. This is my crispy chicken thighs, potatoes, asparagus, really nice full recipe. I'll see you there. Thanks.